Have you ever felt like God clearly asked you to do something and was leading you to do something and then everything got worse? And not just worse for you, but worse for the people that you were trying to help? Oh, this is exactly what Moses is going through in Exodus chapter 5. And as we get into it today, there's so much we can examine in ourselves. And I think we can relate to Moses in some of his feelings too. So come on in and join me. Hey y'all, I'm Kaela. Welcome back to His Word, My Walk. I'm truly here. My desire is to bring you faith-based content, not just reading the Bible daily, although that's what our main thing is here to help you get consistent, but also other content to help you grow in your relationship with God, to help you walk out and live out your faith, to help you have boldness and confidence and to just keep going as we live in this world. Look, we are getting into Exodus chapter 5 today, and oh my goodness, I feel Moses sometimes. Like, are you there as you've been going through Exodus? First of all, I love that you continue on. And at the end of chapter 5, there's this like, how could we not continue on to chapter 6 immediately? But I also love slowing down and going one chapter at a time, as that truly helped me grow. It helped me grow. It helped me get consistent. It gave me this freedom that wasn't too much pressure. I didn't have to read 5-6 chapters a day. I could if I wanted to. So I love that you're receiving that freedom too. Okay, Moses and Aaron are together now. It's time. It's time to go and speak to Pharaoh. Let's go. Chapter 5, verse 1. After this presentation to Israel's leaders, Moses and Aaron went and spoke to Pharaoh. All right, so they presented to the leaders of Israel. Remember, they were supposed to get all the elders together. Now they're going to speak to Pharaoh. They told him, I love it says they, right? It's got to be Aaron speaking. They told him, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel says. Let my people go so they may hold a festival in my honor in the wilderness. Again, I mentioned this in previous chapters, but something that stood out to me is that there's always a purpose. It's not just let my people go, release them from slavery, get them out of bondage. There's a purpose every time they come to Pharaoh. Like, keep that in mind as we keep reading forward. Let my people go so they may hold a festival in my honor in the wilderness. I don't know if I've ever wondered this. Where's the wilderness? Is the wilderness within Egypt? Where's the wilderness? Is that so? Retorted Pharaoh. And who is the Lord? Why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. What's their response going to be? Right? The response was supposed to be to the elders when they were like, who is the Lord? Who are you talking about? Tell them I am sent you. Can you imagine if they say that to Pharaoh? When Pharaoh says, and who is the Lord? I am. The God of my ancestors, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Is that what they're going to tell Pharaoh? Have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I believe the Lord told me this, and someone else comes back and is like, who is God? Why do you believe him? Why do you believe that? How do we respond in those situations? Do we get defensive? Do we speak with love like he would? Do we respond with something that they wouldn't understand? What do you mean, who is God? I am. He's I am, that I am. Something that even as believers, we don't fully understand, but yet we say it because it sounds like it's a good thing to say. How are they going to respond to Pharaoh? But Aaron and Moses persisted. The God of the Hebrews has met with us. They declared, the God of the Hebrews has met with us, they declared. So let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness so we can offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. If we don't, he'll kill us with a plague or with the sword. Now, is that true? Is that true? Did God really say, oh, I feel like I sound like the enemy now? I mean, that's Satan's first tactic, right? Did God really say? That's something that I teach women that I mentor. Anytime you have those thoughts of like, did God really say that? That's the enemy speaking. And instead of having the discussion with the enemy, we go straight to God. We have a relationship straight with God. God, did you really say? Which makes me go to his word. I can't believe I just like caught myself in that one right now. But here's what they say. So let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness so we can offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. If we don't, he will kill us with a plague or with the sword. But did God say he'll kill them if they don't go? Why are Moses and Aaron saying this? Now they're relaying the message from God as far as we know, right? Pharaoh replied, Moses and Aaron, why are you distracting the people from their tasks? Get back to work. Look, there are many of your people in the land, and you are stopping them from their work. There's the priority, right? The priority of Pharaoh is, I have these slaves in the land. Your people are my slaves in the land. You coming to me right now and meeting with the elders and doing all of this, you're stopping them from their work. Get back to work. This is a waste of my time. Why did you even come here? How are Moses and Aaron feeling? And also, how's Aaron feeling? What's Aaron's confidence in all this? And what was Aaron's relationship with God before? Right? He's in there now trying to be bold and speak before Moses. What's his belief? What's his understanding? That same day, Pharaoh sent this order to the Egyptian slave drivers and the Israelite foremen. Do not supply any more straw for making bricks. Make the people get it themselves. Now things are getting worse, right? Hey, Moses, we were doing just fine. Look, we didn't love it. We didn't love being in bondage, but we're getting on. We're doing our work every day, years and years and years. This is where we're at. This is what life is. You come to us now and say, hey, your God, our God, said that Pharaoh is going to let you go. Said that here's the signs. I'm going to go before Pharaoh. Now it's worse for them. Do not supply any more straw for making bricks. Make the people get it themselves, but still require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That's why they're crying out, let us go and offer sacrifices to our God. That's how I feel like he's saying it. Load them down with more work. Make them sweat. That will teach them to listen to lies. This was the response of Pharaoh. They're lazy. That's why they're crying out, let us go and offer sacrifices to our God. Look, if y'all got time to plot all this and plan all this and come and present this whole plan toward me, you've got this whole plan all together, you got time to do all that? You got time to do more work. Oh, I used to work, I was an assistant manager at a retail store for a while. And one of the phrases that I would always say to my team members and myself, but one of the phrases I would always say, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. And I would also sit there and lean and we'd have conversations. And some of you, you know me by now. I am a let's grow. What are your goals? I know your goals aren't to sit here and fold pants for the rest of your life. What are your goals? How can I help you get there? Let's talk about education, all the things. But that's something I would say. If you got time to lean, you got time to clean. And I feel like Pharaoh's kind of giving that, oh, y'all got time to come together with this whole plan and your God and set an appointment and send Moses and Aaron before me? You got time to do all that? Put all that plot together? You got more time to work. Now my guys don't have to collect the straw. Figure it out yourself. You're lazy. Things are getting worse. And how does Moses feel? And how does Aaron feel? Does Aaron really care? But how does Moses feel in that moment? I'm being obedient to God. And I got to this place of the Israelites trusting me. I got to this place of the Israelites trusting me. Remember, it wasn't always like that. He was raised in the palace. He got to this place, the Israelites trusting him, that God sent him. And now it's much worse for them. Meanwhile, the Egyptian slave drivers continued to push hard. Meet your daily quota of bricks, just as you did when we provided you with straw, they demanded. Then they whipped the Israelite foremen they had put in charge of the work crews. Why haven't you met your quotas either yesterday or today, they demanded. This is really interesting. Again, I've said this before, but Exodus is such a great book because so much of it happens in Egypt. And Egyptian history is well recorded in archaeology and in history. And so this understanding of straw and the bricks is a real thing. And even the daily quotas. There's historical accounts. You can go and do research into Egyptian history about the bricks and the straw. but also a commentary of the Bible that gives us some extra understanding so we can ask those questions of like, what was it really like? Right? And like Egyptian history and buildings and like the pyramids and all that kind of stuff, like it was built to last. So what is the thing with the straw and the clay, and how did that actually work? If you're curious enough like me and you like watching those shows, how it's made, like going way back into, do you remember when Exodus was written? When Exodus happened, like thousands and thousands of years ago, and we can kind of research how things were made, things that are like still standing. I think that's incredible. But these quotas, right? Now it's getting worse for them. So the Israelite foreman went to Pharaoh and pleaded with him. The Israelite foreman went to Pharaoh and pleaded with him. The Israelite foreman, they didn't go to Moses and Aaron. They didn't even go to God, their God. They went to Pharaoh. Do I need to examine myself? If I feel like God has sent me somewhere, or even is using someone else to help me or be in a situation, and then it feels like it's getting worse for me a little bit, who do I go to? How often do I go to God in situations like that? Or do I feel like there's a person who could handle it better, or give me an answer that I want, or just have a conversation face to face? There's so much we can examine in ourselves, but also to understand what it was like for them and what it was like for Moses as, for lack of a better term, the mouthpiece of God, right? In this situation. So the Israelite foreman went to Pharaoh and pleaded with him. How could they get in front of him? That Pharaoh would even give them the time of day. Please don't treat your servants like this, they begged. We're given no straw, but the slave drivers still demand, make bricks. We are being beaten, but it isn't our fault. Your own people are to blame. I don't think that's going to go over very well. But Pharaoh shouted, you're just lazy. Lazy. That's why you're saying, let us go and offer sacrifices to the Lord. Now get back to work. No straw will be given to you, but you must still produce the full quota of bricks. I'm not like a rebellious kind of person, but my mind went to like, or else what? Like, what if they don't produce the quota of bricks? Right? They did say we are beaten, but it isn't our fault. What were the punishments? And this is all of them. Like everyone, all the men who are Israelites in Egypt are all slaves, are all in bondage. It makes me like curious, right? Because this is Egypt. This isn't just a city. This isn't one city. This is Egypt. So like, did some of them have different positions? But they were all working for the Egyptians. What did they get to keep for themselves? How did they get paid? How were they surviving? No straw will be given to you, but you must still produce the full quota of bricks. The Israelite foreman could see that they were in serious trouble when they were told, you must not reduce the number of bricks you make each day. This is the foreman. This is the leaders of their own people. I wonder if they were ever encouraging to their own people. How did they get raised up as foremen? Did they get any extra perks? Obviously they're talking to Pharaoh, but did they get it worse if their people didn't produce? As they left Pharaoh's court, they confronted Moses and Aaron, who were waiting outside for them. Oh, I don't know if I'd be waiting outside for them if I were Moses and Aaron. Like what? Like, what did he say to you? Did it work? Like, what did he say? The foreman said to them, may the Lord judge and punish you for making us stink before Pharaoh and his officials. You have put a sword into their hands, an excuse to kill us. You did it, Moses and Aaron. You made us stink before Pharaoh. What did that mean culturally? Your translation of the Bible, I'd be interested to read that verse in a different translation. If you don't know, I list resources in the description in every video, but biblehub.com is one that I use regularly, that I would just go to biblehub.com. I would type in Exodus 5:21, and then it'll pop up like 50 different translations of that exact verse, and you can just compare them. And I often do that when I study and when I'm reading, because a word like stink, right? It makes me wonder, what does that mean? May the Lord judge and punish you for making us stink before Pharaoh and his officials. What is that original word? How do some other translations use that? Can it give me a little extra insight into the culture then, into the time then, in of what it would be like and how they need to represent themselves in front of Pharaoh as the foreman, but also just as the Israelites who are in bondage there? You have put a sword into their hands, an excuse to kill us. That makes me wonder, like, how many of them had been killed by Egyptians? How many of them had been killed by Egyptians or had died because of the conditions that they were in, the work that they were doing? How often had that happened? And have you gone and looked how many Israelites we're talking about? How many people we're talking about who are in bondage, who are in slavery? How many people are we talking about? Oh, I can't wait to get there. But please look ahead and figure out where it says and how many people it actually is. Verse 22, then Moses went back to the Lord and protested. Why have you brought all this trouble on your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh as your spokesman, he has been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them. That's honesty. How honest am I with God? Right? Am I reading that? And as I read it, I'm like, ooh, like, Moses, don't do that. Don't do that. If I'm reading it like that, why? Why am I worried or scared or like have like holding back when I read how bold Moses is before God? Why do I have that feeling? Or do I have the feeling like, good for you, Moses, stand up for yourself, tell him how you feel? And if that was my feeling, why am I feeling that in this conversation? Or am I feeling like Moses is really being honest? Like he's just laying it all out there with God, no matter if there's a consequence or what, he's really being honest. And what's coming up in me for that? And how do I go to God? In situations like this, I'm sure you've been in a situation in your life, I know I have, where I felt like God was leading me somewhere and like it got worse. When I took action, it got worse. And maybe not even worse for me, but also for me only, but also worse for the people that I was trying to help, or worse for the people that I told that the Lord was going to do something. I mean, can you imagine what Moses is going through? God, I trusted you. You showed me the signs. Yeah, you sent Aaron. Like, I was willing to go. I was willing to do it. And I came out and spoke on your behalf. I told the people what you told me to say. And I even got them to believe that you sent me, that it was you, that you were going to do this for them. And now it's worse for them. I wonder if Moses feels like it's all on him, or if he feels like, God, now they don't trust you. Now they're questioning you, not just me. I don't know. These are things that we get to examine because, again, remember, this is real. And let's be in it with them. Let's try not to read with too much foresight, right? We're in this with them. We're not like, yeah, but once they go through a couple things, he's going to let them go. No, spoiler alert. But let's stay in it with them where they're at right now. When they go to sleep tonight, they're in bondage, having to do way more work. Moses and Aaron are looking like they don't know what they're talking about. God has made it worse for the people who are his people, his chosen son, like he said. And now what? Ever since I came to Pharaoh as your spokesman, he has been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them. Did you already read verse 1? Then the Lord told Moses, and now you want to keep going into chapter 6? We are obviously going to go into chapter 6, but let's pause here because here's the other reason why I like going chapter by chapter. It actually allows me to process some of those thoughts, right? Like I feel like even now I need to go and think through some things in my relationship with God. Maybe even some things in my past that I've been holding on to. of like, God, you said you would come through and you didn't. And then it got worse. Maybe I've been holding on to stuff. And if I just push on to the next chapter or 5 chapters or 10 chapters or skip to a New Testament and a proverb and if I just do all that, I sometimes miss moments with the Lord. I wrote this. I love that the Bible shows this honesty in Moses' relationship with God. And that even when Moses was scared and insecure and questioning, he still went ahead obeying the Lord. And it looks like things are worse. And not worse for him, but worse for the people he said he was coming on behalf of to the Lord to rescue. What do I do when I know I'm obedient to God? I know others will be blessed through what he's telling me, but things are getting worse for them. And I'm over here telling them the Lord sent me. The Lord sent me. Can you imagine? You clearly heard from the Lord, not only instruction for you, but for someone else, for a whole nation, and it's making it worse for them? Can you imagine these things? See, let's slow down. I'm going to give you this walk it out challenge, and I truly want you to take some time today to think through this, to think through it in your own life, to truly be in this with Moses and what he's going through and his relationship with God. Today, come clean with God. Moses had very honest conversations with the Lord. He didn't talk under his breath or vent to a friend. He had honest conversations with the Lord. Today, it's your turn. Stop pretending you're praying. Have the real and honest conversation with God today. He knows your thoughts anyway. I talk about this so often because it shifted so much in me. Going through the New Testament when Jesus would always answer the thoughts of the Pharisees, right? Like when God said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? When Sarah laughed quietly to herself, silently to herself. God knows our thoughts. He knew Sarah laughed silently to herself and he addressed it. Jesus addressed the thoughts of the Pharisees. So what makes me think God doesn't know my thoughts? Sometimes I think we will sit down and we'll pray. I shouldn't put that in quotes. We'll sit down and pray and we'll pray in an organized way. But what about the thoughts throughout the day? God, even if I don't address God, right? What about my thoughts throughout the day? Why is this getting worse? This is never going to work. I shouldn't even have taken this step. I shouldn't have taken the chance. Maybe I really didn't hear God. And I'm just spiraling in my own thoughts. Moses went to God with that. The Israelites went to Pharaoh. The Israelites went to the one who held them captive. The Israelites went to the one who's holding them captive to try to get a response. Moses goes back to God. Hey, look, here's what's happening. God doesn't know, right? He knows what's happening. He's there with it. He told Moses, I'm with you. But Moses still has the relationship with God and the heart to come to him with honesty. And I want to encourage you to do that today too, whether it's writing in a journal or just having a conversation with God and maybe set that conversation aside. Maybe it is going out for a walk and just thinking through things and knowing that God hears your thoughts just like he hears our cries. Oh, I don't think I've ever said that before. We always thank God for hearing our cries, even our cries in silent. He hears our thoughts the same way. So let's not be afraid of him hearing our thoughts, All right, let me pray for you so we can get out of here and go and think through this and have some conversations with God with true honesty. God, thank you for who you are. Thank you for who you've always been, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of the Israelites, the God of me. Thank you for who you are, that you have been consistent. God, I just pray for clarity, but I also pray for boldness and an increase in our faith and patience. God, that we know who you are and we know your character, so that when you speak, we know clearly that is you, and we also know what is not you. God, I pray over the one watching, the one listening right now. I pray for an open and honest conversation today, that they will come clean with you about how they've been feeling. And not for your benefit, but for theirs. That they will know that they said it. They will know that you heard it. They will know for a fact because it happened. God, I thank you. I thank you for hearing us. I thank you for loving us in spite of I thank you for the sacrifice of your Son, Jesus Christ, so that we can come to you honestly and openly, right here, right now, as we are. Thank you, God. In Jesus' name, amen. I mean, we got to keep going. We got to see what the Lord's response is going to be to Moses. Let's move on to chapter 6.